Meeting is now being recorded.
Yes, you can start from your introduction, please.
Okay. So, good afternoon. My name is Vipin Gandhi. I am the Innovation and Advisory Lead for SAP in India. As my background, I was the Group CIO for Wellspun and have recently, about 1.5 years back, joined SAP in this new current role. Innovation in terms of IoT, ML, AI, etc. has been a passion for me, and my passion has now become a profession as well. I have a patent in my name in terms of tracking and tracing the cotton, which is Egyptian cotton, which is very expensive as compared to the normal cotton. So we created this application at Wellspun, and I have a patent to that, patent for that. What I'm going to talk about today is analytics. And this analytics means two, three things. One, the normal MIS that we see, and on top of that, how do we augment that normal analytics with ML and AI so that it becomes more useful for us, and we can drive some insights out of whatever we are seeing, the data that we have. Everybody says that, that data is the new oil. So if it is the new oil, then how do we leverage that new oil? And that is what we are going to talk about. I will also showcase a demo to you on what you can possibly do with the analytics that you're trying to do. So we have come up with an asset which is based on SAP Analytics Cloud, which has got industry-specific KPIs already embedded and created into it. So this would be a 90% fit for a industry, and the balance 10% would be tweaked based on the organization's specific requirements. Right? So we can reduce the process of creating a dashboard or a report mechanism for an organization to say 8 to 10 or maybe 12 weeks, depending on which organization and what is it that we are talking about. To start with, let us talk about the intelligent enterprise era. Since you are all SAP customers, you would have heard this intelligent enterprise discussion, and you would understand that today tasks are being automated. There is a huge amount of accuracy that is coming in voice recognition and video recognition, and image recognition is one technology that is being adopted in various forms and shapes. And there is a 3.5 trillion value being created by enterprises which are digitally transformed. I would like to also refer to a couple of news items that I read in the last 2 weeks. The first one being the Hyundai advertisement, which says that we are no longer a car company, we are an IT company, which means that they have embedded so much IT or digital into their cars that they would want to call themselves an IT company rather than a cars company. Then the next two news items are about IoT having a $11 trillion market by 2025. And India has only adopted on a scale of 1 to 10, only just at 3, whereas China is at 8. So if this is the amount of data that we are going to gather, how do we make sense out of it? How do we make sense out of not just the data that is being gathered through these new technologies, but also our regular, day-to-day business that we're doing? So today, what we are looking at is how do we do more with less people, right? How do we empower people to take the decisions, consider decisions, take decisions based on data rather than based on emotions or one's personal, beliefs? And how do you deliver best-in-class customer experience? Everybody, each one of us have heard the stories about Uber and Kodak, how Uber came up with a new business model and completely out of nowhere changed the way car hiring or mobility was perceived, and how Kodak could not, fathom what was happening in their field, and ultimately went out of the landscape of people's mind. Right. So if we have to not get disrupted, these are the things that we will need to do. Analytics being at the top of the discussion. So if you look at the intelligent technologies that SAP has been talking about, it has three main components. The first is the digital core and the related applications on network and spend management, people engagement, manufacturing and supply chain, and the customer experience. This forms the core of the entire digital technologies intelligence suite forms it. Okay? The next thing that SAP has brought in is the digital platform, and I'm sure most of you are aware of the capabilities of SAP Cloud Platform. This is one application or one platform which connects SAP and non-SAP data coming and enables us to do a lot of things that we could not possibly have done with SAP technologies earlier. Right at the center is the intelligent technology, which is the bedrock of the Leonardo technology that we talk about. So ML, AI, IoT, blockchain, analytics, all of these are right at the center of this whole intelligent enterprise paradigm. So what we do now is that we have embedded a lot of intelligent technology in whatever products we are coming up with. And we have come up with an open innovation framework where we cater to specific requirements of specific customers. Now, while we are doing this, all of this analytics or open innovation ultimately leads into one thing, and that is analytics. As per Gartner, and they have been doing this research or survey since 2006 until last year, they found that BI and analytics is right at the top of the mind of every single CIO. So while analytics was being discussed not only just by business or by IT teams, it is now being discussed by the boards as well. The focus has shifted from the lower rungs to the higher rungs. So anybody in an organization needs analytics to make some sense out of what is being done or how the business is performing. Let us look at the current imperative or the status of analytics. As per McKinsey, analytics in itself is a 9.5 to 15.5 billion opportunity globally. And there is a study done by INSO about Indian analytics, and they estimate this to be a 2.7 billion market. And it is growing at a healthy rate of 33.5 CAGR, which means that the Gartner survey is getting reflected here, which means that analytics is the top priority for every single organization that works in India. It has also highlighted, Gartner has also highlighted that, the traditional enterprises are more into reporting and the architecture-centric analytics program, whereas organizations like private banks or e-commerce sites are adopting analytics to get insights and create a completely different business paradigm out of it. Okay? It is also seen by this study that while the analytics penetration is increasing, but the depth and maturity is getting lost. Now, so how do we retain this depth and maturity but continue to penetrate deeper into the organization with analytics is what we are going to discuss today. So I would like to now draw an analogy with the way coffee is being looked at. So coffee beans are available at 600 rupees per kg. This is an equivalent of the data that we have. If you do nothing to it, if you don't put a framework to it, that data is actually meaningless, and it can give you very little value. But you add a framework to it, which could be just an Excel framework. This becomes some bit of an information to showcase how the organization is functioning, what was the production done, what was the top line, bottom line, and where are we losing money, etc. So this data, which was 600 rupees a kg, equivalent of coffee beans, has now, after some bit of processing, has become 2,400 rupees kg approximately data. Right? Now, this is where the interesting step comes in. So while with the information, you can draw some a bit of value because you know which direction you are moving in and how much you're moving. But the insight comes in, which is an equivalent of a cup of coffee, which at Starbucks would cost you about 250 rupees per cup. The insights tell you what is going right and how do you continue doing more of what is going right and do less of what is not going right. So this gives you the reasons of why things are happening the way they are happening. Once you have these insights, you can actually convert them into an action so that the organization moves in the right direction and tries and attain its own vision for whatever that vision has been set. Today we have a very segmented approach. So we have business intelligence, we have planning, and we have predictive. All three of these happening in three different systems which are not interconnected to each other. Which means that if I'm seeing some trends in business intelligence, and for an example, if there is a force majeure that has happened, I cannot possibly change the planning through the business intelligence. So whatever insights or whatever data or information that I'm getting in business intelligence cannot run the planning tool to attune it to the current set of priorities or current set of circumstances. Predictive in itself is a completely different layer, which is a third layer. So the data needs to get migrated from planning to business intelligence or to predictive to make some sense out of it. And therefore, there is no backward movement, no to and fro movement. It is only a one-way movement, right? With business intelligence, there is human bias. So depending on what I would prefer, I would interpret it that way, right? There is always a delayed insight because there is some amount of work that needs to be done to bring that into a certain framework. And we just don't know what next steps could possibly be. And even if we guess a hazard a guess, it might just go wrong because it is not based on concrete data insights. As far as planning is concerned, this is again fragmented, and normally in Indian organizations, we do planning at the start of the year, and then we forget about it. Then we have quarterly results coming out and quarterly monitoring that happens, quarterly targets being set, and it may completely lose the connect with the original planning, annual planning that had been done. And it is more reactive than proactive. Right? Based on all of these things, the action that we can possibly take is either not there or possibility of it going wrong is pretty high. So what is it that we can do to bring all of these three things into one single space? So what SAP has done is this. So today, you use Anaplan, Hyperion, and there are other tools as well for planning. Then there is business intelligence, which can be done through Tableau, Microsoft, or ClickTech, and there is predictive that is supported by IBM and SAS. But what SAP has done with SAP Analytics Cloud is that they have brought all of these three things together, which means that you can do the simulation, you can tell the story, and get automated insights. Then you can share it between these three functions. Right? While this is a global product that SAP Analytics Cloud is, but then there is some amount of Indianization or localization that we need to do, because Indian organizations function in a slightly different manner. And so data within the SAP suggests that there is a huge amount of customization that is done on the ERP that is implemented. It could be ECC or S4, but then there
is not a passcode that I can confirm. Please try entering your passcode again, followed by the pound or hash key.
Okay, so once we do this customization, we can possibly not use the inbuilt reports and insights that come with the normal SAP Analytics Cloud or S4 for that matter, which means that we will need to create our own set of reports so that it can give us the view that the Indian operators or Indian management wants to see to monitor that business, which is where we are saying that we have come up with an industry-specific asset which can be deployed in any particular industry in a short duration of time, which is 90% fit, and there is this 10% margin of customizing it to the requirements of the industry. So now let us look at the coffee bean analogy again. So now you have seamless data collection that is happening from multiple sources, because SAP is capable of all of that, and we'll talk about that in greater details in some time. So your 600 kg rupee coffee bean has actually converted the data into an information which is all present available in one single source. So you don't need to get into multiple tools and multiple windows to get the information. And third, because of the ML and AI capability of the SAP Analytics Cloud, you start getting insights. And when we see the demo, which my colleague Divya is going to present, you will see that these insights are available out of the box, some of them, and some of them you can sort of train the models to get to your own set of insights. Now, with all of these insights, the action becomes very, very clear, and it is based on hardcore facts rather than somebody's emotions or beliefs. So there is no guesswork that is left in the decision, which means that the actions that are being taken would probably result into positive, implement positive aspects rather than not knowing what will happen. So to sum up, SAP Analytics Cloud is about uncovering trends, planning for success, and to execute and assess using smart analytics, smart planning, and smart command center. Any questions so far? Or you can key in the questions and I can answer them at the end of the session. So let us look at what is it that is different with SAP Analytics Cloud. You can see what connections we can build with SAP and non-SAP data sources. There are some connections which can be live. There are some connections which can be imported. And you will see a lot of partner or third-party applications that can get connected into this thing. So servers, SQL servers, IBM, data, Oracle, all of these can be easily connected into it. I will go to the extent of saying that we can actually connect an Excel into the SAP Analytics Cloud. So this has become more versatile, and it will be more useful than anything that we have seen before.
You can send it in a Word then.
Can someone please somebody stop?
I'll use all the participants in one.
For LPG location ऐसा करके कुछ नाम रहेगा.
Basically.
Vipin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Please
I can hear
continue.
you. Yeah. Okay. Data modeling in this case is pretty simple, and it can be deployed very quickly, like I said again and again. I will go to the extent of saying that once the data models have been prepared, the user, the end user, the business user can actually go to the drag and drop views and create their own version of the analytics that they would want to see. So I will just skip all of this and probably come to the benefits that we derive out of the implementation of SAP Analytics Cloud. You can identify with the capabilities of SAP, identify interesting patterns in your data, which we may not have been able to see thus far. We can also figure out what are the different levers that work towards taking the business to the next level. Okay. So any anomalies can be detected quickly, and corrective action can be taken up. We can simulate the impact of the strategic changes that you are trying to do on the business outcome, which means that without actually having taken an action, you can figure out, simulate what impact it will have on the say production or balance sheet or profit and loss account, etc. So this gives the capability to do just that. Future performance, which is the predictive part of it, becomes an integral part of the monitoring process of the SAP with the SAP Analytics Cloud, which means it learns from the history and it projects into the future. And again, we can do course corrections if required, if we see that we are not moving in the direction that we should be moving in. When new data becomes available, because it has live data connections as well, it will automatically recalculate all the screens and show you the latest data that is available and latest insights that are available. It will also go to the extent of predicting whether you will be able to reach the targets or not reach the targets, and what are the components that can possibly help you attain those targets. Another important aspect of SAP Analytics Cloud's capability is that it brings in cross-departmental metrics to one single application. So which means that I can have HR data from SuccessFactors, I can have operational data from S4, and I can have sales and marketing data from C4HANA, and I can have finance data all sitting into one single application. And I can do KPIs which are cross of each of these departments. So for an example, I can find out what are the number of people I have to deploy to get, let's say, 1 ton of my product output, or how sales and marketing spend has been done to sell 1 ton of whatever product I'm making, and what is the impact finance has on the
9.
Has been done now.
The best capability today in today's terms is that it is available on any device that you would want. So it is always connected, which means I can see it on the mobile app or the pad or a browser, which makes it versatile, and it can be customized for the various reports, dashboards that we see, depending on who's using it and what is the device that he is using. I would now want my colleague Divya to showcase a demo to you of whatever we have spoken. So SAP Analytics Cloud demo. Over to Divya.
Yamuna, can you make me the presenter so I can share my screen?
Yeah. Yamuna, you'll have to do that. I'm stopping to share the presentation. Hello. Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see my screen also?
Not so far.
I think there is some problem with my screen share. Hello. Are you able to see my screen now?
No, I don't think we are able to see your screen.
I think within in the interest of time, you will have to take over because I can't share. I'm not able to share my screen.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so first let us go to the sales data and see what we can do with the sales report. And with that, keep adding if there is anything that I'm missing. So this is my sales data. So if you see on the left, you are seeing a gross margin of 28.47%, 233 million USD as my value gross margin, and my net revenue of 820 million. Now, this is the highlight of the whole analytics dashboard. Now let us do a little bit of digging on how this margin and the top line etc. is coming. So if you see right in the center, there are three bar graphs that have been made, which talks about the gross margin in California, Nevada, and Oregon. And these are based on the products of alcohol, carbonated drinks, and juices from location California, Nevada, and Oregon. And this is for the date period of 2014 to 2017, right? One is, it tells me that my gross margin is in green as far as California is concerned, but it is in red as far as Nevada and Oregon is concerned. So when I hover my mouse over this thing, it will tell me that my gross margin is 172 million. Or here it is 13.20 million. Right? Now let us see how we can change this data without getting into any more applications. So let us look at the data between 2015 and 2016. So you see the gross margins are all negative and in red. So I can now look at getting some insights here. California has above average sales when compared to Oregon or Nevada, and the red insight is Nevada consistently underperforms for all product categories. Right? Now I want to drill down into the product, so I will just look at probably alcohol in all of these three states. My margin in alcohol is negative here. Similarly, I can maybe just look at alcohol in California Right? So the drill downs are a capability that comes along with this thing. Now I will select all of these so that we can see all the data. So here you're seeing all the product categories and all the cities. Now, if I have to do some analytics on it, I can filter this, or I can see, let's see the top 5 or a bottom 5 or the top 10. Top 10 means that it could be anything other than 5. It could be 2 to 10 or whatever number you would want to see. So let us see top 5 here. So carbonated drinks is my first category, juices is the second, and alcohol is the third. Right? So which means I'm making better margin with carbonated drinks than juices. And I can also filter in terms of the cities, etc. Now, as a managing director of this organization, I want to first check why this is happening, right? Why alcohol is not giving better margin. So I can write a comment and place it here, and the person responsible can then possibly sort of reply and send this, as you can see on the screen. So which means that there is a real-time interaction that can happen between the management and the person who is responsible for that particular field. I will just delete this data so that I don't leave a mark here. So then let us look at some financial reports. There, you want to add anything in sales?
So when you look at the interactivity which is available, it is available on the screen itself. So when you are accessing this via portal or your handheld device, this interactivity still retains as it is. So because of the responsive UI, the capabilities help in terms of analyzing and slicing on the fly rather than getting into device-based limitations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let us look at, yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Okay, let me open this. So let us look at the various parameters of an industry's sort of benchmark. So what is the growth that is happening? Like always, you can see all the data here, and there are comparisons that are done. There are some insights that you can see here, which is that it is 191.76 million Q3 2018 revenue, which is down by 2.77% as compared to 2017, and down by 1.202% as compared to a plan. Your profitability as a percentage of million INR is 0.49 at the EBIT margin, whereas this is the same as 2017, and your profit margin as compared to 2017 has gone down by 1.97%. Okay. So you have here the EBIT as well as the gross profit, so you can select which one you would want to take a look at, and you will get the corresponding data. So value-based management, trailing quarter, what is happening as far as the creation of ROC, the ROC is concerned. So you see a complete view, and again, like hover on any point, and you will get the details of those points. So I'll now open the profit and loss and balance sheet account so that we get to see. So here you see two things. One is there is some feed that has come from the internet, and this could be a feed about your own organization or your competitors or your customers and vendors, etc. So you can customize this feed. And here on the right hand side, you see data about the top things that you would want to review. Net revenue of 551 million, total expenses of 321 million. So all of this data are available at a click of a button. Now similarly, you can do drill downs here. So if I have to compare this 37.62 with, let us say, 30.2 of April, it tells me that this is down by 7.42%, which is 19.71% decline. I can go to this filter button and see only just March and March data, or I could filter it down to anything else. Now let us look at the details of the profit and loss account. So here you are seeing the profit and loss account, and there is a comparison between 2017 and 2018. If I have to drill down again here, sales revenue. So I know how much has been coming from domestic and how much from foreign sales. And if I look at deductions here, then what are the deductions that we have made? So there is changes in inventory or the operating gains, material expenses, depreciation, so on and so forth. So the point is that within this whole application of SAC, you are actually able to drill down to the lowest level possible that you would want to drill down. And you can filter out whatever is relevant for that discussion. If you can see on the left, you see there are business areas and there are profit centers. I can select or unselect some of these and see a different number altogether. Yeah, so this is only for business unit A. These are my numbers. Right? So in one single screen, like I said, you are seeing all the data that you need to see to monitor your business. So here is your gross profit margin, net profit margin, margin ratios, etc., all given in one single screen. And I've already mentioned that you will compare these and drill down all of these. So right now this is all I have to present. If there are any questions, then I would be happy to answer them. Over to you, Yamuna.
Okay, so
Hello.
I'll unmute all the participants. So if there are any questions, okay. So if there are any questions, you can please raise Vipin and Divya will be able to answer them. I have unmuted all the participants, so if there are any questions, you can please raise them now. I guess there are no questions. Okay, so let's end it over here. Okay, Vipin, do you have anything to tell in the last something? I guess there are no more questions.
Sorry?
Do you have anything to say, something about this session? Or let's end this session. I guess there are no more questions.
Yeah. So Bala briefly presented to you the capabilities. We would be happy to connect one-to-one if that is what you want. You can just give that message to either Yamuna or Mukesh, and we can connect one-on-one to give you the specific capabilities or answer questions that you might have. I would also wish to thank all of you for giving your precious 1 hour to hear out about the new product that we are trying to bring. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vipin, and thank you everyone for taking time from your busy schedule and attending this session. So this session is being recorded and will be sharing in this YouTube channel. We'll be sharing the link to all the attendees. So thank you so much. Thank you, Vipin. Thank you, Divya, for doing this session for us. So I'll stop the recording now.